Half a day Flosstube. This is Lynette at Homesteading on the Homefront. I am going to try something a little different today. I got a lot of comments on my the first part of my 6th video. My camera had shut off when I was talking to you about this Hibernation Day sampler and how I got the variegated look without using fancy floss. So I thought I'd do a little explanation / tutorial today so that those of you who are swimming in DMC like I am, or not swimming in money and need to keep things on the cheap, can get the look that so many of us like without having to fork over all the money for the fancy flosses. So this is Hibernation Day from Beth Twist at Heartstrings Sampler. This is the original, and it was charted in all fancy floss, and that's how she got such a great variegated look. So I decided I wanted that look without having to buy new floss because I have a ton of DMC. So if you can see here, let's look at these for example. There's dark in the red, and there's a lighter part of the red. Same thing in the green, but it's not as noticeable here. It's a little more noticeable, I think, probably in the windows. And so basically what I did is I chose 2 of each color. This was a pretty easy one to convert into my method because there weren't a lot of colors in the whole sampler. There was the red, there was the green, there was the gold and white for the roof, and the brown for the house. Actually 2 different types of brown. You can see this is different than the door color. So basically what I did is I chose a light shade of each of those and a darker shade of each of those colors, with the exception of the white. I didn't do anything with the white. That's not variegated. And then I simply used those 2 colors to stitch with. And if I zoom in, I don't know if you can see here, but basically what I did, or my method to this madness, is that I would stitch some full cross stitches using one of the colors. In the A, I started with the light, and then I would do some half stitches, and then I would come back and cross those half stitches with the other color. And then you can see in this part of the B, I hope you can tell the difference, I would come back and make full stitches and then half stitches and then cross with the other color. It might be a little more obvious up here with the browns. I don't know if you can see here, this row right here, I crossed on the top with the darker color, and the lighter color is on the bottom. So if that's not making sense to you, I'm going to do a little demonstration so that you can see what I mean. I'm working on a free pattern. It is called Our Savior's Birth from Paulette at Plum Street, and I will link this chart below if I can find it online. I didn't get on to check beforehand, but that was a free chart from last year. And I'm working on the tree here. And so as you can see, I've already started stitching, and I'm getting a slight variation here because I chose 2 colors of green that were very close to each other. I believe I'm using 3051 and 3052. So there's not a lot of difference, but it is a slight variegated look. So what I'm going to do here, and I hope I can do this because I'm kind of stitching around the camera, is I'm going to stitch some full stitches in the dark color. This is 3051, I think. And the beauty of this method is that you are in total control of the amount of variation. You don't have to use 2 colors. You could use 3 colors of green and then get much more variation. Or you can stitch as many full stitches, as many half stitches as you want, so that if you want a lot of variation in a little bit of area, all you have to do is change strands more frequently. By the same token, if you want less variation, then you just stitch more of the same color before changing. So there you go. I've got a couple of stitches in with the green. And maybe normally I would stitch more, but I'm just going to switch it out to show you what I mean. So after I have these full stitches, I am then going to go to half stitches. Oops, I just undid my last stitch. I'm just going to go to half stitches here. I hoped that I had written down the colors that I used for Hibernation Day so that I could share those with you, but that was before I started writing down the color changes that I made, so I unfortunately don't know what colors I used for Hibernation Day. Okay, so I put a couple of half stitches in. I am going to just park this thread up here and get it out of the way, and then I am going to grab my 3052 and I'm going to come back and I'm going to cross my half stitches with this lighter color. Now I am totally aware that technically if I wanted a perfect variation, then I would have made these half stitches first in the light and then crossed over in the dark. But I'm not that picky. And I just find that this way works easier because you're not traveling with your thread as much. I'm at an awkward angle here. I've kind of got my arm looped around the camera that's on a tripod, so it's kind of awkward stitching. Okay, so now I've got all of my full stitches, or all of my half stitches crossed. So now I'm going to start making some full stitches with this lighter color. And I hope you can see the variegation that's resulting. I probably should have chosen like a orange and a black or something so that you could have seen it easier, but I never want to waste stitches, and this was a project that I had been wanting to get started. Okay, now like I said, normally I would put in more stitches. I wouldn't change threads this frequently. But I've crossed my half stitches, I've put in some complete whole stitches, and so now I'm going to make some half stitches using the 3052. And it doesn't matter how many. Like I said, you are in total control of this. So it's whatever you want. So I'm going to switch over now to the darker color, switch back to the darker. And I'm going to go back and finish crossing the half stitches. And now I'm back to the beginning of the process. We started over here with full stitches of dark, and I'm gonna make some more. And I will just repeat that process. If I was using 3 different colors, a dark, a medium, and a light, it would be the same thing. You would first stitch on your dark, and then your medium, and then your light. But then I would go from dark, medium, light to back to my medium and then back to my dark again, because that would mimic the way that the fancy flosses are made. Oops, I got a knot. Oh, look at that. Of course it would happen on camera. That's never happened before. But anyway, you get the gist of it. So have fun choosing colors. It's a lot of fun to choose the colors and then see what kind of variation results with the different shades. If you have any questions, let me know. If you use this method, please let me know and show me the pictures. I think I'm going to be using this on a couple of larger projects I have planned for the new year. So you will definitely be seeing this again from me. And like I said, it's a little more fussy because you are switching threads, but it's really not a ton of work. And if I had more needles, I would leave my threads. I would leave my needles threaded, and that would even save more time, but it's not bad. And once you get used to it, it goes really fast. So that's that. I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving, and go stitch all the things, and I wish you fair winds and following seas.